Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Val Njoroge from Africa's Pocket. And if you don't know, we are a personal finance company that gives you the tools and courses that you need to make the financial decisions that will help you build the life that you want. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about Saccos, which is a question that we get asked about quite often. Like, should I join a Sacco? Which is a good Sacco? Basically, how do you figure out if a Sacco is the right investment place for you? And I think for me, what I want to do today is just talk about Saccos from the respect of when they are advantageous, and then we will talk a little bit about how to assess them. And I want to just mention that Saccos are actually regulated, and you can find a list of all of the licensed Saccos on our website called SARSA. It's the Association for Saccos in Kenya, and all licensed Saccos are listed there. So what is a Sacco? So this is a community of people who come together to save together. And typically you can also get credit from these organizations. So it is usually an organization that's run by its members, which is what makes it interesting. It's not a bank where there are other shareholders out there who are, trying to make a profit from you. Instead, it's a more community-based form of financial institution, which brings one of its biggest advantages about that Saccos are usually a lot more forgiving than banks. And this is where I think Saccos become really interesting. So typically when you invest in a Sacco, when you save with a Sacco, you can get compensated by dividends at the end of the year. So based on the number of shares based on your total contribution, you're able to share in the profit that the Sacco has made from lending money to other Sacco members. So that's one way to make money from a Sacco. Another way to use a Sacco is to get credit from them. So Saccos can typically give you up to 3 times of your total savings amount as a loan. So if you've saved up 100,000, you'd be able to get 300,000 as a loan. Now, most Saccos will give you this money at an interest rate of 1% or 1.5% per month. One of the things that you really want to make sure you're doing is checking what does that translate to on an annual basis, and is that cheaper or more expensive than a bank loan? So for example, 1% per month is 12% a year, but 1.5% per month is close to 18% a year, which is much more expensive than what you'd get from a bank. So that's number one. What does the monthly interest rate actually translate to on an annual basis? The number two question you want to ask is, if I've saved 100,000 and I'm borrowing 300,000, what it actually means is that you're borrowing 100,000 of your own money, and then the Sacco is giving you 200,000. So you want to ask yourself, if I only needed 200,000, what's the cost of that? And does it make sense for what I'm trying to buy? So this is some maths, and usually you can ask the Sacco to just do the actual math for you so that you can see what the total interest that you'd pay is on 200 versus 300,000. But it's important to note that when you're borrowing from a Sacco, you're kind of borrowing your own money, because the 100,000 that you saved is not accessible to you anymore while you have the loan. So that's something to note. The other thing to think about with Saccos versus other forms of financing is that Saccos are very forgiving. Most of the time, the loan that a Sacco gives you is unsecured in that they don't take collateral. However, they do ask you to get a guarantor. So that means that there's somebody else in the Sacco who kind of vouch for you. And that means that you're going to have to be pretty careful in case of any financial issues that come about, because it could affect the person who's guaranteeing you. So it's really important to take money from a Sacco that has a sort of not relaxed, but a more lenient approach in case of anything, but also to have a good relationship with them. You also have to invest in the relationship so that if anything goes wrong, you're able to kind of talk to them and explain the situation and come to sort of an agreement, which is typically something that banks might be a little bit less willing to do for you, because they have the ability to repossess whatever asset it is you were buying from them, you were buying with their money. So that's Saccos in a nutshell. We will be creating a guide on this as well, so make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter to get word of whenever it is out. And here we'll be telling you how to assess a Sacco, how to make sure that it's the right fit for you, and then how to use it to get access to credit should you need it. Thank you.